This is Hog Canyon in Kanab, Utah. We start this day, it's a pleasant 21 degrees and I'm aired down to 11. I'm expecting this to be a harder trail. Begin this trail heading into the sun. So it's kind of tough at first because the sun here is just like a laser right to your brain. And there's a couple spots where it's just like, oh, what am I doing? Even at one point I rolled the window down just so I could stick my head out and try to see where the heck the trail was, because I got to a point where it was like I was cresting like a little hill like here, but I was at the top and I wasn't sure if it turned or went which way, and the front camera was on but it was blinded too, so kind of crazy first thing in the morning. Once it gets up a little higher it's better, but first thing it's pretty rough going right into it like this. Now hopefully we're getting to where it's going to get more interesting. Just a little going downhill a little bit on a smooth rock. Or slick rock, as they like to call it, but it wasn't all that slick. And this is a nice trail, and it runs right along probably, what's called Hog Canyon. So there are parts where you see, off an edge, and you can see Kanab, and it's really pretty up there. I think I probably already passed this spot, but I could barely see him when I was driving, so I'm sure the GoPro would probably have trouble picking him up. But there was like a small group of mule deers that ran through, so that was kind of neat. We saw tons and tons of tracks up there, just deer tracks all over. I'm sure it's a pretty big herd. It's a little drop. It was a significant drop, but it was pretty easy. And at this point, we're the only ones out here. We don't hear anybody. There's no one around. This is a nice Christmas Eve drive, and we're starting early because, I plan on coming through here and then going out some other trails and then heading over to, it's known as the Sand Cave or Sand Caves of Kanab, which is right off of Highway 89. And that's where this trail starts, just up the road a little ways. And we ended up coming out that way, which was really nice. So I ended up airing up right in the parking lot for the Sand Caves. And we did a hike there. And I've posted that video also. And that's a great little adventure. This is a nice trail. It's got a lot to see, and it's a lot of ups and downs, and steep up and downs, and some rocks and what have you. But there's one section in there which is I think it's called Tom's Cabin Trail, or something like that. It's a extreme difficulty. We started down there, and my back is bothering me a little bit, and I just didn't feel up to going down there. I'm sure Alice would have been fine, but just in case, I just didn't feel up to doing it by myself. Now, if I had backup and someone else was there, that'd be a different story. But so we'd like to go back at some point, or at least I would for sure, and do that section that we bypassed. But you'll see up here in a little bit. Kind of get out and take a little look and determine that, if I go down this, and it's a much steeper drop than it looks, and a farther drop, that it's going to take significant effort to get the heck out of here if we do run into problems. So, and as much as I love Matt's off-road and recovery, I don't necessarily want to be recovered by him, and I'm afraid of what that bill would be. So, by ourselves, I just made a good choice and said we'll just be safe. We're just getting a little bit too old for all that right now, and if I felt better, I probably would have done it, but my back was killing me. So I think anytime I do like a little extra walking and stuff, it's not so much like driving as, I can get a little tired driving, but the day before we hiked what's known as the Peekaboo Slot Canyon, which is also right up 89, and that's very nice to do. Like, it's pretty easy sand trail. You got to air down a little bit just to make it easy getting in and out, but there's like a dead end that you can drive up to and park. Then you get out, and it's probably a quarter mile, I'm thinking, of hiking, maybe a little less, but it's a really cool slot canyon that you can walk through. But I think all that walking and stuff from the day before kind of like upset my back a little bit. So then here now on this day, Christmas Eve, it's because we did that on Saturday, and then this day here, my back wasn't happy. And then later when I hiked the sand caves, I made it even, happier. But sand caves is lower risk compared to driving into a very remote place that's extreme difficulty. So, and I need the exercise, and I got exercise, that's for sure. My back is hurting again today. And one thing to remember is when you look at these videos that, no matter what, it's never as steep as it really is. So, like, even that was, a pretty significant thing. And I had my lockers on and off, all morning for this area going up and down some of this stuff because it was that steep. So it might not look that steep in the video, but just so you know, if you do plan on coming out here, it is significant. And if you watch, there's a couple videos on here where I saw people in here that didn't have lockers, and maybe weren't lifted as much and whatnot, and didn't air down as much. They struggled. It's not that they couldn't get through, but anytime you're spinning your tires to get through something, you're risking getting traction and breaking an axle or something. But this is a really neat area. I do plan on going back. I think the St. George Jeepers go through here sometimes. So if I ever see them posting up that they're going to go, then, I'll try to make an effort to get out here. And one thing you notice here too, it's like I'm in a regular Jeep. My Jeep is regular width, but this trail has got a lot of stuff that pokes out at you too. So you can kind of see how you'll see sometimes I come really close to one side of the tree so I can avoid something on the other side, or vice versa. And with the sound going on this, I'm sure you'll hear like scratches and stuff, or the branches touching the sides of the Jeep. But that's something else to think about too. It's like, it's not like a wide groomed trail where you can pretty much go through and not have anything touch you. It's like you have to really work hard to keep the touches down to a minimum. And this here is a really nice picnic spot, overlook of Kanab. If we'd have started later, like if we knew the trail or whatnot, Shell just teleported in. And teleported her back into the Jeep. But this would be a great spot to have a lunch. It's nice to have a picnic table up there. This is a nice little climb. It's much more impressive than it looks. I actually got some drone here. It looks so tiny sometimes. It's very disappointing. This first part is pretty steep, and then it kind of levels off just a little bit, but it's still steep. And then goes up. And this is a nice climb. And this one too, it's like you're already kind of going up, and then it's like, oh, you're going to go up some more. And this is another one. It's like you come around this corner, you're going uphill this whole time. And it's like you see these rocks and go up, and yep, you can go off to the right and have a easier time, but I just wanted to at least try this. It's a very significant little climb up. So I did it. So at this point, you have a choice. You go to the left, you stay on a trail that's just considered difficult. And if you go to the right, it's extreme difficult. And that's that Tom's Trail or Tom's Cabin Trail or something like that. But so I just wanted to go down, take a look, see how it felt. And, because again, it's like, when you're watching this stuff online, it's like the video just never gives it justice. So I think I was probably taking a picture or something there, but short pause. And this is a nice little climb. I mean, it's steep. But the nice thing is you see you got like kind of like a couple little step areas, and if you're aired down properly, this was not a problem here. I think I was sitting there looking, trying to figure out like where the trail was exactly. It's like when you have the sun looking right in your face like that, it's like, oh, it's over here. Okay. So I just kind of pulled up and then was like, all right, which way is it now? Because inside the cab, that hood kind of like hides a lot of stuff, especially since it like went downhill and off to the passenger side. If it went downhill and off to the driver's side, it'd be easier to spot, but you just want to make sure you're always kind of going the same way. And one thing, using Onyx, it's like on this section in particular, it's like they have the blue marked trail, and then right alongside it there's this green one that kind of runs and zigzags with it, and it's kind of confusing at times because you're like, which trail am I supposed to be on? And sometimes I feel like that the green ones that they have marked on here, a lot of times they just don't even exist. So it's almost like whoever's phone it was, their GPS coordinates didn't match up with the same one. So like here, if I go to the left, it is the bypass. It's a very steep climb, but it skips then the whole rest of this extreme hard stuff, which I just figured, well, if we get to a point and I don't feel comfortable, and I already knew I didn't feel that great starting the day, my back was bugging me, that if I didn't feel like doing something, that I just knew that we'd have a place to turn around and then cut back. So it's like bypasses the whole extreme difficult. It's still difficult getting up there, but without having to backtrack all the way to where the turn was. It just joins up at the top with that other trail that we could have taken a left to. And here it like drops down steep, and then right at the bottom, then you climb back up just a little bit. It doesn't look like it's that much. It's a lot more in person. Now here is a little weird because it's like so on the left, if you go to left, it's like you just fit on there. And the right, you have kind of a drop. So it's like there's a part of me that was like half tempted to be like, maybe I want to like ride around on the lower half on the upper, because I wasn't sure what was around the corner here. And then I recognized this, and I'm like, oh, well, this looks steeper than it did in person. So I got out and took a look. And it did look steeper in person than it did in the video. I definitely thought I could do it, but at this point it was like, am I up for this? And my judgment was no. Maybe I want to stick to a little bit easier trail just to make sure that I don't have to get out and rescue me. Not that I'm against rescuing me, but because of where it is and how the trail's set up, you're kind of in a precarious position to turn around. And so it was pretty tight. So I pretty much determined, I think, that the best way to turn around was to turn downhill, then back up towards the side, and then kind of, go back and forth a little bit so I could get back up on that ledge, turned around, as opposed to trying to back around that ledge, which seemed like that would be an easier way to make a mistake and then get into trouble, maybe rolling your Jeep or something. But so anyway, that's why I turned around the way I did. It's like just going a little bit. There wasn't a lot of room. You can kind of tell by how far I go. Jeep is like, all right, we're turning a little bit. And it doesn't look like it's downhill much, but it is downhill. So it's like you don't really want to go into the sand and turn around too much. I mean, but you see people have done that, but I'm just like, no, I don't want to be fighting it. But you can tell people have turned around down there and then just gone up the ledge at the corner. But I don't know. Sorry I'm making you suffer through this if you're watching this, but I figured it's just good to show. And here now we've made it back to the bypass, and I'm just gonna take a right and then go straight up this hill. And believe me when I say this hill is steep, it is steep. Since I had the corner here, I think I just had the rear locker on at that steep part so that I could turn, and then here I had it off for a little bit. I kind of did the rear locker and when I saw a corner near the top. Unless I felt like I really needed them all locked. I don't like spinning the tires, and I prefer to just crawl up, and if I can do that by having nothing locked, then I'll do that. I'm kind of particular about the way I drive, I guess. Kind of funny. So here, this is an interesting spot. So you tell it's clearly used more to the left, but to the right you see it's a trail, right? And if you're looking at Onyx actually says go to the right. It shows it, right? And at this point, Shell's on the inside saying, stop, get out, look, stop, get out, look. And I'm watching, I'm able to see in the front camera that I have a little bit, but at this point here, I do get out and look, as it does, it looks like, you're right on the edge. I mean, even there, you can kind of tell, and you kind of are. It's like, so I'm just like, what the heck? So I followed what Onyx showed, and but what's around the corner is like pretty much it's an easy little trail for a dirt bike to go that way, and maybe a UTV or a quad could do it, and maybe at one point that was the trail. I don't know, but it's clearly not the trail for Jeeps and most UTVs, anything that's decent size. So then I backed down. I'm like, well, clearly that's not the way. So then I knew that the path up the left side was the way. And so I just carefully backed down. Just a little bit so I could get a little bit more turn in there. There we go. Felt like I needed a little better lineup. But you can see just by looking at it, it's like, look how high up that thing is. I mean, this is a pretty steep climb. We haven't done any of these trails before. I've watched some people do them, so some of this stuff I recognize. This one I do not recognize. Maybe they showed it, maybe they didn't, I don't know. I generally try to show most of what I do unless there's just a lot of super easy stuff. And I cut out as much of that as I can, but unless I just feel like watching something that it's pretty or something. For some reason I want to watch it, but well, anyway, get to the top up here. And this takes us then on the Hog Canyon Trail to an intersection. And then basically it was like, I forget which direction they all were, but it was like one basically was I could go back to the extreme area if I took a right, but I saw that if I took a left, it would be like going back to where we started, so it'd be going back to the road. And if we go straight at this intersection coming up here, that's another trail that kind of goes off into the distance. And then it's like, I know we could do that trail, and then there's some other trails over there. We ended up doing 3 trails, to get over to the section where the sand cave is, and that's what we wanted to get to at the end. So that's what I picked. But the interesting thing here, it's kind of I'm getting to the end of my video here. But the interesting thing is, so you'll see we come down and there's like 2 quads and one guy's kind of like parked in the trail. It's, you know, if you stop out here, of course, most people just park right in the middle of the damn trail. But I could get around him by going to the left, so it didn't matter because he wasn't blocking the way I wanted to go, and we just went around him. But what I guess I'm getting at is the trail we're going to get on is a 2 out of 10, which means like maybe you get like a rock or something, or a ledge or a waterfall that's like 12 inches. I think that's what that means. And it's generally it's pretty easy. It's almost like it's like a gravel road that might have a rut in it or something for the most part. And a lot of it is like that, right? For that whole section. But wait till you see the gatekeeper for a 2 out of 10. I think this is kind of funny. You can see it straight across. You see that hill going up. See, the guys are blocking me there. He sees me coming down. He's just like, and I'm just like, it's okay. I can go. So I just waved at him. He's like, you don't have to move if you're resting. It's just me. And see right there straight, you can go down and that heads back. And that'd probably be a nice trip too. But I wanted to extend our day, and since we weren't doing that Tom's Cabin, then we just do this. And this goes out into the desert, and it's a nice trail. It's easy. But like I said, this is a 2 out of 10 here, which if you look at how tall the damn thing is, it's probably an 8 out of 10 for height. You know, because it's a gatekeeper, and I think like probably the ATVs and the UTVs run it from the other way and then just come down this hill, right? But I just think that's kind of funny that it's a 2 out of 10, and it's got that big climb right there, and there's a couple other little rocks up here too. But that's the 2 out of 10, which is funny. And once you get going on this thing, so it has a nice, it's a good looking ridge. You can kind of see off to both sides here, so that's really nice. But once you get going on this, it does become like a 2, and more than that, it's like you can tell it's like used by a lot of UTVs and ATVs, where they're just zipping along and they're digging their corners so that it builds up the material on one side. And so like I was telling Shelly, it's like a swoop. It's like swoop to the left, swoop to the right, swoop, 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 and you're just swooping in and out of all the trees, and kind of funny. Well, that's kind of fun, but for the most part, it's like a lot of this trail here, you don't really get to see a whole lot because the trees kind of block your views. this was a fun trail. If you go out there, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. There's a lot of different stuff to do, and hopefully you have someone that you can go down that Tom's Trail and check that out. But thanks for watching. Have a good day.